So welcome to another video and to another organ. Today I'm at St Andrew's Church in Roker in Sunderland, just near Newcastle, a bit further north than normal, and I've come along to this church to play for a funeral, but while I'm here I've decided to make a short video with the permission of the people at this church of this lovely organ. So let's crack on and have a look at the organ. So as you can see, this is a 3-manual pipe organ. It's a huge organ, there's a lot of stops on it, it makes a lot of volume, and I've just experienced that when I was playing for the service. It's a lovely organ. I don't know a lot about it, to be honest. It feels as though it is partly tracker and partly tubular pneumatic. Look on the National Pipe Organ Register, the details are all in there. I'll put it down in the description. But it's a nice organ, it's a nice action, it sounds to be pretty well in tune. This organ was built in 1907 by Norman and Beard. Later on, I guess in about the 1970s, this organ was completely restored by Vincent and Co of Sunderland, so a pretty local organ builder. And later on in, I think it was 1996, this organ was partly restored by Harrison and Harrison of Durham, so again not very far away. I think on that particular restoration, for want of a better word, it was essentially the leatherwork that was renewed, but it feels and sounds to be in pretty good working order. It certainly needs quite a lot of work to get it back up to standard. There's a few little bits here and there that aren't working, but as usual, and I want to keep this video quite short because I'll get locked in or kicked out, but I just want to go through the stops as usual. So we're going to start here on the middle manual, which is the grate, the stops for which are here on the right. Let's have a look. So again, I want to keep this pretty quick, but the first stop, the bottom stop on the grate, is a 16-foot double diapason. Sounds like this. This organ, by the way, is up in a gallery. If the video quality isn't very good, I apologise for that. There's hardly any space to move to and for the camera. The front pipework is up here above me, and the organ is at an angle which overlooks the entire church, so the acoustics, I imagine, are fantastic. Lovely golden front pipework, really nice. So that was the double open diapason. Lovely depth. That feels tracker. Again, I'm not absolutely sure about the action. Check on the National Pipe Organ Register. But it feels and sounds tracker. Could be wrong, of course. We then have an open diapason, an 8-foot. Another open diapason, so I'm assuming we have open diapason 1 and 2, although it isn't listed. Yeah, much quieter. In comparison, nice. Next we have a whole flute, it's an 8. That was G major, you wouldn't think so, would you? It's a pretty sharp action if it is tubular pneumatic. I'm not absolutely sure, you'll have to check. Next we have a 4-foot principal. Let's try that with a large open. And the small. Loads of oomph, I like that. We have another flute, this time it's a harmonic 4-foot. Let's try that with the 8-foot flute. Before the service started, I was using that to twiddle, and it's pretty powerful. There's loads of oomph in this organ. But it sounds nice. We have a mutation. It's a 12th on its own. And we have a 15th, which is a 2-foot. So effectively a mixture. Let's try that with the principal. And the open. And the large open. I have a feeling that the front pipe work here is part of the large open. It sounds very, very close. Again, I could be wrong. This is a lot of guesswork. Check the National Pipe Organ Register. It's down there in the description. Next we have a 3-rank mixture on its own. Let's try that with the mutation. And the 15th. And the principal. And one of the opens. I like that. And finally on the grate we have a reed. It's a trumpet. Haven't tried this yet. Let's see what it sounds like. Wow. Few notes off there, but it's a powerful trumpet. I like that. Let's try something on the grate. Let's have a go. Serious oomph, and again the acoustics in this building I assume are fantastic. The positioning of the organ is great. It's up here, it travels right the way down this pretty open building. Well impressed so far, pretty much in tune. The action is sharp, not quite sure what it is. Look at the National Pipe Organ Register again, but let's move up, I think, to the swell. The stops are here on the left. Let's have a look. So just to say, at this stage there are 2 swell pedals. Obviously there's one for the swell and I assume the other one is for the choir. Just let me try that. Not sure whether that works, but there's definitely a swell pedal that does work. But the first stop on the swell is a 16-foot Borden. Depth. You can hear this organ loft rumbling when you play those bottom notes. That is a lovely flute. It's a 16-foot Borden. We have another open diapason, an 8-foot buckshot. I'll give you wrong information there. I think the swell pedal is actually the left pedal, so the choir must be the right. Yeah, it does work. There we go. Had them back to front. I would have expected that to be on the right, but the swell pedal is to the left, the choir pedal is to the right, and that was the 8-foot open diapason. Next we have a string, it's a gamba, it's an 8-foot. Lovely tone. Again, not having much chance, should I say, to do much research on this organ. I think the swell box is right at the top at the back. Hopefully you can see an image of that. So it's quite a long way away. We have a flute, it is a Lieblich gedackt, an 8-foot. Lovely tone. And we have a Vox Celeste on its own. Does that stop at C? Yeah, it stops at Tennessee. Of course, we need to try that with the other string, which is the gamba. Do we get that beat? We do. We have people lingering in the church downstairs somewhere, so I apologise for the background noise. But that sounds really nice. We do get that beat. We have a gems horn or a gems horn, however you choose to pronounce it. A 4-foot, sorry. And that was with the gamba, 8-foot. We have a mixture, it's a 3-rank mixture. And another flute, it's a Lieblich flute, which means it's a stopped flute. And let's try that with a Lieblich gedackt, which is another 8-foot stopped flute. Such nice tones, that is lovely. Not one of my favourites, but we have a Vox Humana. Let's try this on its own. I'm sorry, I just do not like a Vox Humana. I just do not like the sound. Sounds like a sea shanty sort of. Bit of Genevieve there. Don't like a Voximana, but there we go. What did somebody say to me in a comment recently? Try it with the tremulant. With a flute, was it? Still don't like it. And we have a few reeds here. We have an 8-foot oboe. Pretty nice. And a contrapasson, 16 foot. Depth, whoa. And a closed horn, it's an 8 foot. Pretty nice. Cornopian, 8 foot. Whoa. And a 4-foot clarion. Bit out of tune, but quite powerful. So a nice swell with some nice variation on there. Let's try a hymn tune, shall we, on the swell. Let's have a go. Start a cipher there, but quite a powerful swell, quite like that. I didn't mess around with the swell pedal, I'm afraid, but you got the idea. So pretty nice. Let's have a look at the choir, which is a bottom manual. Let's have a look. So the stops for the choir are here on the right. There's not very many of them, but we're going to start with the open diapason 8 foot. Again, we've got that lovely depth. We have a Lieblich Gedacht, an 8 foot. And a Dulcian, 8 foot. Let's shut the box, which is the swell pedal on the right. And a 4-foot Lieblich flute. Let's try that with the 8 foot. We have a harmonic flute. It's a 2. Let's try this on its own. Bright. So while we're on these flutes, let's try it with the 4 foot and the 8 foot. Lovely and bright again. It has so much power, so much depth. That is lovely, lovely, lovely. We have a stop that doesn't have a stop, we have a hole for a stop. It bunged up. You know what I'm trying to say. The very final speaking stop on the choir is a clarinet. Be interested to hear what this sounds like. Nice. That's a lovely clarinet again, that rumbly bass, really nice. Let's see if we can find a hymn tune and try something on the choir. Let's have a go. Nice. Let's have a look at the pedal stops, which are here at the bottom on the right. Let's have a look. So first thing to say is that the pedal board is a concave radiating pedal board. There are 6 stops. There are also 7 combination pedals. Is that a combination pedal? That's a reversible greater pedal. And the others are combination pedals, which I haven't tried. I don't propose to try, but they seem to operate stops on the grate and the swell, pretty much what you would expect. But let's get back to the pedal stops. The very first stop on the pedals is a 16-foot open diapason. Rumbly, like it. A 16-foot border. Nice again. 8-foot octave. Really nice. Again, loads of rumble. I can hear them around the side. 8-foot flute. And finally on the pedals, nice to see, hope it works, hope it sounds good, we have a 16-foot trombone. Oh no! It's obviously prepared for because the stop doesn't pull out, there's obviously no pipes for it, which is a real shame. I suppose we could make up for that by having something like that contrapasson on the swell and coupling that to the pedals. That is very disappointing that stop doesn't pull out. Who knows, in a future rebuild that might be added and that would be so nice. Very disappointing, but there we have it. Quickly touching on the couplers. The couplers are lined here on the left. Quieter pedals, greater pedal, swell to pedal, swell to choir, swell to great, and I should have mentioned these on when I was doing the choir and the swell. We have a swell octave, which adds to that brightness a little bit, and we have a choir tremulant. Bah, that's noisy, I can hear it rattling away. It works though, not a bad speed, very, very noisy. I'm not a fan of tremulants, as you know, but that's actually not a bad speed. Listen to that, whoa. Very nice though. And also, while I'm here on the left, there were two stops on the swell which are actually on a slightly different part of the jam, which I've completely missed. There is a 15th on the swell, a 2 foot, and a mutation. So that's good to add to the swell brightness. You can tell I'm not familiar with this organ and haven't done much research. I'm just winging this completely because I miss them absolutely. We also have 2 tremulants. Not sure why there's 2 there. Can hear something going though. There is 2 tremulants there. It doesn't seem to have any effect. The top one doesn't pull out at all, so it's another dead stop, but there we go. Anyway, that's probably just something that just needs adjusting somewhere along the lines. Not a difficult job really. But overall, one more thing before we overall. There are 3 thumb pistons here, which will be tubular pneumatic, I'm sure. They are, I can hear it. That seems to operate just the swell, the trumpets, and the 15th. They could probably be set up better. I doubt they're used. But overall, I think this is a lovely organ. It looks so nice in the corner of this church. The sound travels remarkably well. There are some lovely stops. There is no doubt whatsoever that it needs some work. The action is a little bit short. I did look around the back before I started recording, and you can see that the leatherwork is relatively new. I think it was last done in 1996, did I say? And that does look in pretty good nick. The action is a little bit rattly. There's a lot of the stops with a few notes missing here and there, but it's pretty well in tune. And it's a lovely organ. I'm really impressed. Obviously it's a Norman and Beard. Norman and Beard are well known to be good organs, and certainly the ones that I've visited are. So let's try something on the full organ, full whack, see what it sounds like. Let's have a go. In this church is absolutely fantastic. This organ is really nice. It really has some power. Stephen, the organist here, is very lucky to play this regularly, and I'm very grateful to him. And of course the people here at the church for allowing me to film this video. Massively grateful. It was nice to play here today, and it's been even a bigger bonus to be able to do this video despite it being completely disorganized, completely unprepared. So again, thank you to everybody who has granted me permission to look at this organ. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd be so grateful if you would consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps to promote these videos. Sorry it's been a bit chaotic, but thanks for watching, and until next time, I shall see you later. Bye for now.